Welcome to Flights, the podcast where we uncork the secrets to running a successful destination wedding and group travel business. Each episode, we will explore the good, bad, and ugly of destination weddings while sipping on the finest wines from our pantries.
As your hosts, we believe in savoring the journey with a glass of wine in hand. Join us, Mario Lopez and Ashley Morris of Destination Wedding University, as we explore all of the adventures and misadventures that we experience in this crazy industry.
All right. Hello. Welcome back. This is officially season 2 of Flights.
We made it.
We made it.
That's an accomplishment right there. I think we can go. We're done. Season 2.
It's been such an interesting kind of couple of months here because we wrapped up December with our last episodes, kind of just talking about your business and your websites and getting ready for engagement season and making sure that you are all prepped and prepared and buttoning up your socials and everything that you need to do to get your business there and ready and be present. And now we are in the thick of engagement season. How is your engagement season going?
It's happening. It's I think I have this. Okay, well, let's back up a second. So we survived the holidays. We ended season 1. Mm-hmm. We survived the holidays. I had some chaos, you had some chaos, and we went to Mexico for a week. We went to an event together. We hosted our first event, our first immersion for Playbook graduates. We had our first immersion at Impression Isla Mujeres, which is amazing. Yep. And then we came home and got dropped right into the middle of the busy season. Sure. And so you and I have been talking a lot too I'm getting to your question, by the way, of how's my engagement season going? I think it's happening whether we're ready for it or not. And sometimes you do have, a personal life and things going on in your life and things that you do kind of have to set aside, because you and I both know after doing this for a while, this is the time. Like, we are in the time right now where we're going to capture a lot of leads, a lot of potential wedding couples, a lot of people who are interested in learning more about what we do and our services. They are all getting engaged between Christmas and, Valentine's Day. This is it. So whether you and I are ready or not, it's happening. And I'm glad we're having this conversation of how do we continue to make ourselves ready and available and excited for what's happening right now?
I know that we just spent a whole bunch of time outlining everything we're going to talk about, and I'm going to sideline us immediately.
And he is not lying. We have notes and outlines and, we're ready. We had a plan, and already that plan has gone sideways, which I love. That's why we're here.
So I just want to kind of take a minute to note, especially during engagement season, busy times in your business, this is the time that you need to make sure that you have a community that's there not only to support you, but to make sure that you're able to lean on things when you need to, right? We've both had times. Just yesterday, I had a day where I just needed to, offline. I was not online. I was not available to anyone. And I have this amazing community that was able to just be like, hey, I got this. I got my team. My team jumped in and made sure that everything was covered. It's important that, I think that's one of the things that the Playbook Inner Circle gives us is an entire community of people that you can lean on when those things happen. When you're in the middle of engagement season, you need to take one day to just breathe and center, and you can do it.
Yeah. And it's, so I feel like people listening to this, some of them will know and some of them don't know that, we've talked a lot about your experience in the last year and everything that's changed in your life. My father passed away in January, so right after the new year. And I was pretty much out of commission for about 3 weeks. I was with him in the hospital for a bit and then dealing with the aftermath of that after. And the community that we have, I don't think I would have gotten through it, because it is so easy to have a group of people that you're already a part of. They know you, you know them. And it was really easy for me to say, hey guys, I'm literally sitting in the hospital. I have to do this quote or whatever it was that I had to do. Sometimes things just can't wait when you own a business. Mm-hmm. Can someone help me with this? And 5 people could answer and respond and help and say, I've got you, let's figure this out. So life is going to keep moving when you own a business, and there are going to be times where we have to lean on others. And that is probably one of the hardest lessons I had to learn as a business owner, is that we can't do it all. And community is everything, especially in a people-based business, like a people-based industry. We are working with humans all day long. You also need that human support sometimes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack us too much, but that was super important just to, I felt like it needed to be said. So like we said, we had wrapped up last season talking about, getting engagement season ready, making sure that you're where you need to be and where your clients are, and it's, speaking to that a little bit. But one of the questions that came up a lot after that episode was, okay, how do I do that? And what do I need to be focusing on, and what needs to be updated, and what makes it me? And so,
Or I understand what you're saying, because I think we got a lot of this too. I understand what you're saying. I feel self-conscious, or I don't know where to start, or I don't like myself on camera. Like, what does that mean? And are there ways I can do that where it's not just my face all over everything every day?
right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we thought it was a really good idea to kick off season 2 talking about putting the you in your business and making sure that you're able to be that person, and finding a way to put that personality out there, whatever that personality is, right?
Good, bad, or ugly,
Good, bad,
whatever
or
it is.
ugly.
I
Welcome
was
to Live Crazy.
I was laughing because I was thinking, when you said putting the you in business, I was like, oh, I really wish business were spelled with like you, like, so we could be a pun. And then I went to another place for a second. I was just gone while you were talking about that. But it is important, because we've talked about this 100 times. Like, couples who are looking to plan a destination wedding, or a group, they expect that you have the resort knowledge. They expect that you've been to these places. They expect that you know how to answer questions about this room type versus that room type. It's like buying a house. Everyone has the same access to all the same houses, right? But you're going to work with a real estate agent that speaks to your personality, that you get along with, that you're going to spend a lot of time with. And I think travel is the same way. Like, these couples aren't looking for the biggest expert on a certain hotel. Like, they expect you to know that. What they're looking for is someone they know, like, and trust, and want to spend the next year and a half of their life with. And so if you don't make those things obvious, like, they don't know who you are, or what you're about, or what you like, what you don't like. They have to get to know you in order to like and trust you. And that's what makes the sale, and that's what books weddings, not your knowledge of a property or a place.
Absolutely. It really is kind of all about the connection. And it's this piece that we're talking about is kind of before we get to make that connection, how you put that out there to attract that person. It's, I think, an important thing to note is kind of what you just said there, is about, once you're in the consultation, you're speaking with the client, they do already expect you to have that information,
Yeah.
that knowledge. That consultation is really about making sure that your personalities mesh, and making sure that you guys are going to be able to work together for a year and a half. If you're a miserable person on the call, then we're probably not going to be great to work together, right? Like,
I would argue that it's even more important.
yeah.
Like, you like fake it till you make it, that you can always get an answer. And I've gotten at this point, after doing this almost 10 years, I am very comfortable saying, I don't know the answer to that, but I know how to find out.
Yeah.
Like, you can get the knowledge, but you can't fake the connection. And you can't fake that law of attraction that we talk about in the playbook so much, of like, knowing not only who your ideal client is, because that's really important, and we've talked about that a lot, but also knowing who you are as a brand. Like, what is your brand? Who are you as a business and a person? And what do you want that to be and not be? That's, I think, almost more important than the industry knowledge. You still have to have the industry knowledge. Like, you can't be a total idiot about stuff.
Don't go into it blind. That's
yeah, so like, you got to know what you're getting into. But the charisma part of this is really hard to fake. And by being your genuine self, you will make those genuine connections. And those are the clients you want.
So let's talk a little bit about how we get there then. How do you, I think the biggest thing that stands in anyone's way when you're trying to get something done is that, where is your first step? What are you like? Yes, I know that I need to put me into my business, but what the hell does that mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's
Okay, well, here's like a little story. So when I first started out, I think you kind of role model, you follow other people in the industry, right? And when I was starting out, over 10 years ago now, the people that I saw in the industry were kind of this old guard travel agent. Everything was super corporate. Everything was super buttoned up. Everything was, we're the experts in this and we know that. And everything was we, but it was just generic. Like, there was like, who are these people? Who is talking? Like, you could go to a website that is like beachbridesomething.com and never see an about page, never see a picture of a human being except for some stock photo of some 90s bride and groom that is just painful to look at. Like everything was very generic. And something that I knew was, this is just maybe from my marketing background, is like, I was like, oh my gosh, it is easy to stand out against these people. Like this, like generic, nobody even knows who they're talking to. Why would they hire someone? Why? It's just today's consumer is very different. They want to know who you are, what you're about, what you stand for, and enough about your personal life that they can have a connection with you. Because if it's versus like, here's Ashley, her business name is weird. Like she is a little quirky and different. She's got these dogs and cats and a petting zoo at her house. And, she lives in Kansas City and is like doing all these crazy things. Like that is something people can attach to. They can't attach and get excited about generic beach bride, whatever.com where there's no face or no name or nothing to grab onto. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I was just gonna say, so to get there, to be able to tell that story and for them to land on your site or land in your socials or, however they're interacting with you,
yeah,
to get that story immediately. I think there's a little bit of work that needs to go in ahead of time just to make sure that you are understanding what your brand is, who you're, the voice that you're bringing to the table. It doesn't need to be your personal voice, but it needs to be the voice that you're bringing to the table that can make you come off as authentically you.
Yeah.
So I think one of the higher level pieces that you can bring out, and it tends to be a little bit generic, which is why it's higher, is the work that you do. So it's, are you planning trips for busy people? Are you, what is it that you do that just high level services to the table?
Yeah. Finding it's having a niche. I mean, it's what we've talked about from the very beginning. If you're going to, be in this community that we've created, it's all about the niche of destination weddings and group travel. But you have to tell people that. Like, I think that's an easy step that people overlook when they're kind of forming this brand identity, is that you have to stand for something or you stand for nothing. So just telling people straight up front, this is what I do. Now, here's what trap I think people get paralyzed by sometimes, is they think that if they write down, I book destination weddings, that they can never book a different kind of trip again, ever in their lives. And that's not what we're saying. We're just saying that you have to be known for something. You have to be known for something in a space. If you want to book other kinds of travel, that's great too. But we're trying to build a niche and you have to build some expertise in a specific area.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. I think as part of that expertise then is having the conversation or being able to portray the point or the conversation of the problems that you solve.
Yeah.
So it's, yes, of course. Yeah, I book travel. I do destination weddings. It's very clear by the title of our business, Destination Weddings Expert, who we are and what we do, right? Yes. However,
people who just joined for season 2 are like, what'd she just say? Look at it written down, people. Destination Weddings Expert. Look at it written down.
Weddings Expert. Did we have this conversation in season 1, right?
Yeah, I think that was your like intro one where you and Will actually like argued about it. Like, what if you were going to keep it plural or not because of the sexpert?
Wedding experts or the weddings sexperts? Guess what one? Yeah. So, anyways, the problems that you solve. So you want to be as clear and concise about this as you can.
Yeah.
It's just, hey, we take the busy work off your plate. We make communication easier. We connect you with vendors that you may not have connections for or visibility to. That's, we have connections with these hotels in the area that you might be looking at, A, B, or C hotel. We have the wedding coordinator, the group sales manager, the general manager on speed dial.
Yeah, it's what is their problem and how can you solve it? But you have to go, we are updating the copy on my website right now, and we just had like a really good specific statement for this. We've paired high level planning with a hands-on approach to reduce overwhelm for both you and your guests. Boom. Like that could be about really any kind of travel. We could use that for selling safaris or something else. But right away, we're hitting on those feeling words of what that couple's angst is, like what they are feeling that is stressing them out. They are overwhelmed. They do feel stressed. They want somebody who's going to eliminate that for them. But to do any of this, we're kind of drifting back into the knowing who your ideal client is territory. But that's such an important foundation, because if you don't know who you're talking to, you don't know who you are and how to respond to that.
I feel like there's a lot of people that feel like it's a cheesy exercise to do, but you have to identify who that client is, because
Mm-hmm.
like for us, I know I've talked about this before, but Jessica, our ideal client, it, makes so and so much money. It works this many hours a week, does
Yeah.
this on her weekends and her leisure time. This is, this is how her life is structured. Because we did that exercise, we are now able to identify the problems that we solve for Jessica. And by doing that, we're able to communicate it well in all of our different touch points.
You communicate it well, but you will also save an immense amount of time. And I'm going to go on a soapbox for 1 second, but the ambulance chasing that is going on in some of these Facebook groups, where, you know what I mean, where a couple says, hey, we want to get married in Mexico, we don't know what to do, and then it's with like 100 travel agents commenting on, let me help you, let me help you. It is embarrassing for our industry, because it is ambulance chasing like that. It is, but you don't have to do that when you know who your ideal client is and how you serve them, because you know that your Jessica is not spending time on Facebook because she's got a busy job and she's working 60 hours a week and she doesn't have time. She doesn't have time to sit in these groups and crowdsource her wedding and DIY. That is not your couple. It's not my couple either. Like, that's not who I'm talking to. And the just amount of time I can save by focusing, once I know who that ideal person is, I know how he or she spends their time, I know the things they're interested in, I can eliminate a lot of work on my plate, but just focusing on those things and just speaking to them in the places where they're going to respond, not wasting my time with, oh, should I advertise in this magazine? Should I have this billboard? My God, billboards. Like, or should I respond to all these, wedding shows? That's another thing that just needs to die. I'm very opinionated about wedding shows because I think they're a complete and total waste of time, except if you're going to meet other vendors. If you're new to an area or you want to connect with other vendors at the show for referrals, that's the best success I've ever had at the wedding shows I've ever done. Had nothing to do with the brides. The brides were a total flop. It was the connecting with the other vendors and getting to know them for referrals. That's where that was successful.
Absolutely.
Okay, I told you I was going on a tangent, and I did. But
like it.
It's just to prove the point of, we're trying to set ourselves apart. These couples are looking for someone to help them. They want someone that speaks to their unique needs. Differentiate yourself. Don't be just like everybody else. And that's going to be successful because no one can be you. You are the only you.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the other important part about, yes, okay, so now you have the problem that you solve and how you solve it for them, and what makes you the expert in this area. How do you make the client feel? We talk about this consultation thing and whatnot, but before that, you need to find a way to communicate about how you make your couples feel, how you interact with them, and what their end experience is going to be. And I think it's super important to not be like mushy, like, hey, we are all each other's best friends and that's amazing and blah, blah, we're gonna have a great time this entire time. It's I think a lot of our copy, the way that we speak to things, is more about, hey, we're going to be your partner in this. We are both going to manage this together, as this is my advertising world, like project management. Like this, I'm not going to do this for you. We're going to work together. We're going to, this is going to be a collaboration, and we're going to bring the expertise to make sure that you have the most amazing day that you've been dreaming of your entire time.
That feeling is important. I'm sure you've had the consult where you get to the end and the person says, oh my God, I feel so much better. Like, I feel, I feel like I can do this now. I feel like I have, like, that is the feeling that you want them to feel, and how you get there and how you communicate that is what we're talking about today.
Those are my favorite consults. Like, there's, you have some that, the chemistry is good and, we had a great conversation, and then you get off and you're like, well, hopefully they hire us.
I don't know how that went.
Yeah. But then you also have these just chemical reaction, consults where, I don't know why I'm going to say this word. It just makes me feel weird when I say it, but you're jiving with it, the couple.
I don't even know what's about to come out of your mouth. So I'm like proactively laughing. What are you about to say?
I don't know what
that wasn't
was.
as bad
like,
as I thought.
Jiving, which is like the 60s, like this
70s, man.
You're jiving with your couple. You guys have this great banter going on. That's you completely understand where they're coming from.
I snorted. Did you mean to say vibing?
Vibing, there. Thank you. It's diving 1970, vibing 2020.
Oh, come for the expert advice. Leave for the words
You
and the
have to
snorts.
understand that I am about 90 years old at heart. So that's
It's true, you are.
I,
I'm not even gonna fight you on that.
I'm
It's
in bed by 9. I get cranky. That's
I ordered those napkins I showed you. Now we're totally getting off track.
what did I?
But those napkins that I ordered that said welcome, please leave by 9. Like I did get those.
I ordered 3 packs of them. I'm gonna have them out every time someone shows up at my house. That's
It's subtle. I love
Are we
that.
having dinner? No, but here's the napkins. Like
Oh my God. Okay, so before I interrupted you and went on this tangent, we're talking about how you make people feel because that is part of your brand voice and your brand identity.
Scary at this point. Yeah, no, go ahead.
Did you do this so with your clients when I was on the agency side, or even when I still worked for like Target and Kohl's, we had like a brand personality for like when I worked for Kohl's. This is so old that I'm not giving anything away. I think I'm well past my NDA at this point because I haven't worked there like 15 years. But the brand identity for Kohl's that we always talked about was Reese Witherspoon. She was like, you know, your fun, friendly best friend who always knows where to get a good deal, who always knows where to go. Like not so super trendy that it's like aspirational and unattainable, like someone who is very down to earth and like chill. And so not we've talked a lot about finding your ideal client and making that avatar and like your Jessica and your person. But don't forget, you can also do that for yourself. Like you need to make a brand identity. Who are you? What do you stand for? Who do you want to work with? Who do you not want to work with? And that will change over time. Like this isn't a one and done exercise. Like you're not stuck with this for life, but you do have to start somewhere in order to start flowing with that. You know what I mean?
I feel like I'm your therapist now, Ashley. Like, do the
Yeah.
work. Really?
You do have to do the work. We both need therapy.
God, so much. Should be off this call and calling my therapist now.
You do have to do the work. And it's sometimes people get really intimidated by that. They're like, how many times have we seen it with the playbook? Like, I can't get past this module. I can't get past this section. Just do it. Just put something down on paper. You can adjust, you can modify, you can blend. You know, you have to try everything out to see what you like and what you don't like. So start with a voice. And if that turns out that doesn't fit you, try it on. And if it doesn't fit you, then you can put it back. Like you don't have to stick with something forever. What is your guys's, because I know you're going through some of this exercise right now. What is your brand voice? Like, who are you guys? Not your ideal client, but who are you?
We are, so each of us as part of the team is the expert in the industry. So that's what we like to kind of portray and speak about the entire time is we are the expert in the industry. We are the one that you want to come to when, hey, I can't stand the on-site photographer. So who the hell am I working? I don't know photographers in Mexico. Okay, but I do. Yeah. I'm gonna be kind of your guy. Go-to, your guy that just, hey, pull me in when you need me, coach. Like, let's do this. I always want to have that partnership with my couples, is making sure that they feel like they can lean on me when they need to. I also am not like the overbearing, like, hey, this is how you need to plan. This is what you need to do. I'm getting out of your way. Your creative vision, I'm there to support it. And, we will make sure that we make sure we get it done. But that's kind of the approach that we're taking on a lot of this brand voice that's coming out right now with us. Yeah, I like that. Ours is kind of this, we're like your quirky aunt that doesn't have kids and likes to travel and always knows like, where to go or what to do. It's for real. It used to be big sister, and now I think I'm aging out of that. So I think it's like your quirky aunt that you don't know what you're doing, but she does. And if you need to have a tough conversation with someone in your family, if you need to, I don't know, find peace with a decision and you're not sure what your options are, like we know because we've done it, and we'll treat you as a friend, we'll treat you as a sibling. Like maybe this comes from me being one of 6. Like I do have a lot of siblings. And so I have been that person in real life of like, one of my sisters will come to me and say, I don't know what to do. What do I do? I'm like, okay, well, here's your options. Like, here's what we can do. We try to bring that same personality into Alpaca.
And the couples that we seem to work with the best are the ones that just trust us to do that. Like we have a bride leaving this week. She's actually on the plane as we speak. And she sent me a note last week and she said the best part of this process has been that if someone asks me a question, I say, go talk to Ashley. That's why we have her.
Yeah.
Like go to her. Like I'm not trying to solve it. I'm not taking on the stress of someone else's question or problem. She's like, we have you. You will fix it. I don't even need to know. Like I don't even need to know what's going on. And she's like, that has been the biggest peace of mind. And it was the nicest compliment because that is what we're trying to do. We're trying to take that stress off their plate. Now, the reason she feels so good about that is because we had a great consult a year and a half ago where we really got to know each other. I had time to sit down with her for an hour and talk about what she likes and what she doesn't like. And I shared enough about myself that, you know, we knew we got along. She follows me on social. So when I'm on trips, she's responding. When I'm posting things in my stories, you know, when I post things like of our cat or our dog, she has a cat. So she responds. Like we've been able to like make this connection.
Mm-hmm.
And so social, you know, websites are important. And we talked a lot about like making sure you are visible and having your bio and knowing who you are, not being anonymous. But social is not just about finding new clients, it's also maintaining that connection with the ones you do have. We're working with these couples for a year and a half sometimes. You've got to maintain that connection throughout the process because once that connection starts to slip, that's where you can start to have a lack of trust and potential problems.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. You actually touched on so many things right there, and my mind's going like, wait. Okay.
I know, I'm really sorry.
One of them I definitely already forgot.
That great point that you made is already gone.
Made a great point. I lost it. But this, I think that though leads into a little bit about what your client thinks they need from you compared to what they actually need.
Yeah.
Right. I think that a lot of the times our couples may say like, hey, you know, we want you to be involved in every step of the way, and we want you there just, you know, to do everything. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you, the couple does not want that. I've never been my experience where the couple wants you to be, I can still be leading the charge, but no one wants me making a decision on their wedding. It's such, there's so
well,
many.
you shouldn't. It's their wedding. You're just there to facilitate it.
Right. And so I think what's the guy's name? Father of the bride, Frank? Is it Frank?
Yeah. Do they think you're Frank?
they think I'm Frank. It's the gay guy at the head of the destination wedding planning company is
the expert who knows a guy. Who knows that
the expert, knows
Armani doesn't make a navy blue tux.
But that's a lot of that conversation that we have in the beginning, and that's the thing that I want to portray when I'm speaking on my website or on my socials or things like that, is that it's in expertise, but it's not a full, I don't want to say a full planning service because it is. I mean, I'm involved in everything. Yeah. I'm not making decisions on everything. It's a collaboration. And that's
giving advice.
Right. Exactly. So sometimes advice that's not taken, they should learn from that. But
well, I think so. You know what I think people, when couples hire us, they think they are hiring us to pick a venue.
Yeah.
That's what they think it is. Oh, they're going to help me find this place. They're going to help me find this resort or this location. That is not at all what they're hiring us for. They are hiring us for a support system. And whether that is for them, like sometimes couples will call and I'll say, oh, do we need to have therapy? Yes, we do. Okay, let's talk it out. Like sometimes they really just need like a support system. Sometimes they need that support system with their friends and family because their friends and family are giving them a hard time and they're difficult and they think they're crazy or extra for even having this wedding and they need someone to like back them up. Like they are not hiring us to find a location. They are hiring us for the support and the expertise. That's why when someone comes to me and they say, well, we already know the resort, is your fee still the same? And I'll say, yeah, because we're still doing the same amount of work. Finding the venue isn't the hard part.
Right.
It's the relationship and the trust that we're going to build over the next year and a half, and me herding your guests like cats. That is the hard part that you don't even know what you're getting into. Finding the venue isn't the place. So this is why that brand personality is so important, because if you just put up some generic website, beach bride, whatever, with these generic stock photos from a supplier, and you don't actually travel and you don't actually go anywhere, why would anyone trust you to manage them for the next year and a half?
Absolutely. And just, you know, communication is not only in writing, but what we're communicating in imagery is so important. That's
Mhm.
if you're posting up weddings from the 90s and it's
Not ironically.
no. And there's all these dated concepts that are in there. You're very quickly communicating that you don't understand what a modern destination wedding is.
Hmm.
And so
Or if
it
you go ahead.
just that you don't understand what that wedding is, and that you don't know, you won't be able to guide them through all the steps that we'll need to take in order to get them down the aisle.
No. And if you have an AOL email as your business email, if you have a Hotmail, if you are, I
It's
just pulled that one out of nowhere. If you like, these are all subtle ways that we're communicating that brand voice, right? Because the couple today that just got engaged, they're looking for someone to be an expert, to be that guide. They're going out there and finding your sad generic website from 15 years ago that still has an AOL email. What makes them think that you are with the latest trends, that you have current relationships with hotels, that you know the next new thing that's coming? All these little subtle decisions add up to a lot when it comes to brand voice and putting you in your business.
Now, this is we're getting a little off topic here, but
Yeah,
it is important.
shocker.
Yeah, normally in a lot of these conversations with the podcast, we're talking to a lot of new agents looking to identify a niche, maybe get into destination weddings, things like that. Also speaking to experienced agents who are just kind of refreshing their business and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's important, kind of what you touched on there, to refresh your business and to keep it current. When's the last time that you redid your website?
We updated the copy yesterday. The
Okay.
full, literally yesterday. The full website was fully rebranded and redone 2 years ago. Before that, I think the iteration before that lasted 3 years. And there's like constant little tweaks, but a website is not a one and done thing. I
No.
mean, we'll be
Living, breathing
refreshing that
thing.
forever.
Yep. Living, breathing thing. It'll be updated constantly. Ours, same thing. I'm in the middle of a rebrand and a total rehaul of our website right now.
I'm
Um,
excited for you.
I'm so excited for me.
I
And
know
then
it's scary and I know there's a lot of emotion attached to it, but it's just an evolution, like you're just enhancing what is already there and great and just making it more obvious to people, which is what we're talking about.
well, and this is exactly where that kind of leads into is who this company was. It's 2 years ago, 5 years ago. It's that has evolved so many times, and the website is the first place that we get to just kind of that's our home base for where that
It's your
community.
brick and mortar.
Right. Exactly.
Mhm.
Your brick and mortar. Exactly. So I think it's so important that you're constantly updating that and constantly making sure that it reflects you. This new iteration of destinationweddingsexpert.com plug is
No one here is booking a wedding with you.
no, no.
It's not the right audience. Calm down, sir. This is not a place to get business.
Current iteration of destinationweddingsexpert.com, or the new one that's coming, is going to be a more current reflection of the current team and who we are as a team, as a whole, it's
As
so
experts.
as experts. So I think it's so important that if that's your vision for your company, if your company is you, then your website should reflect you. If your company is a team, then your website should reflect your values, your core values, and who you are as a company.
What do you stand for? Who are you? Who are you not? Something we added to our about page last year was actually really helpful. It was, we work best with blah blah blah. We are not for you if blah
Mhm.
blah blah. We actually just straight up said it. Like, if you are a DIY bride trying to find the cheapest deal, I'm not for you.
Yep.
And that plays into that whole law of attraction. Like, be the thing that you want to attract, like put that out there. And sometimes that's expressing that in the negative. Like, sometimes that's saying, this is who we don't work with, or we're not best with. There's nicer ways to say it. I'm being really blunt, but we work best with, or we may not be a good fit if there are more subtle ways to say that.
There are, but I love that. I think there's a balance there, right? Like I haven't taken the step. I might see that from me now, but I have not taken the step to go as far as saying this is who we do not work with. Also, I wouldn't recommend taking it even further, a step further than that, and saying, hey, if your per plate budget for your wedding is so and so dollars, you're not for me.
Yeah.
I don't
I think
think
that's hard.
Yeah, I think that's being a little harsh, and also probably alienated some people that you could educate to get to where it needs to be. There's also, it's somewhere, just like you said, if you're looking to cut corners and, try and do everything yourself just so that you can save a buck, unfortunately, probably not a great fit. It's more headaches for the agency, and it'll be more headaches for the couple. It won't be a good planning experience all around.
Yeah. We're talking a lot about these like intangible, subtle things, like who do you want to be, who do you want to work with, what do you like, what do you not like? Like there's like soft decisions, you can make to reflect that too. But we also need to talk about some really overt things, like put your damn picture on your website. Be like, you need to be there. That is my biggest pet peeve when I go to a travel agent's website and I'm like, oh, who's this? And I look and I have no idea. There is no picture. There's no about me. There is no email. There's no, like, this could be a AI completely. This could not even be a real business. I don't even know who this is. Why would anybody hire them? And all those wedding guests that are going to come book with them, why is there any incentive for that guest to make a connection with them if they don't know who they are? Like that's really difficult for me. Like even before you get to some of this like branding type conversation, you just got to make sure you're there and people know who you are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You just said the magic word. So AI, let's talk about AI for a second.
No, because you and I are like vehemently opposed. Like we have a very different opinions about this.
Polar opposites.
Yeah.
I would say that I would be willing to adapt it a little bit more into what I do, whereas you are a staunch no.
For certain things, I will say for certain things, I'm not for others. But as it pertains to brand voice, there's still people that I talk to. I think anyone who's been in this business a while, the veterans in this industry heard this, with like the internet. They're like, oh, Expedia, Travelocity, are you still going to have a job? And we all can see now years later, well, absolutely, because I don't know you the way, or Travelocity doesn't know you the way that I do. They can't solve your problems. They don't listen. They don't give feedback. It's not a collaboration, right? They don't care. They don't care about your aunt not getting the room that she booked. And now someone's got to spend 2 hours on the phone with a resort fixing that. Like, the internet was this big, scary thing for travel agents many years ago. They thought it would disrupt the entire industry, and it did, but not in the way that people expected. And I feel like we're in that with AI now. My sister works for Google and she actually works on some AI projects. And she was trying to show me when she was just here last month, like, hey, look at these trip planning features, or this is going to replace you potentially, or this is what you can do. I'm not worried about that because I have a strong brand identity and a brand voice that's established that I'm 10 times better than anything you could plug into AI and have it spit out a recommendation. Right. I'm not worried about that at all.
No, I mean, if you think that what we do is just churning out a reservation and one and done, then you have no idea what an advisor does.
No. And if a human who's looking to book a wedding wants to trust an AI system to pick a resort for them and plan their wedding, then they're not my ideal client because they have no respect for the expertise we have.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that goes back to just some of those simple things that you can and should communicate about the value that you bring to the table. It's just think about your top 5 biggest headaches that you've had this year with clients or couples, and then communicate that on your site.
What were we saying about therapy? There's some immediate things that come to mind, but that's what it is. It's, what is that exercise that we have people in the Playbook do where they're establishing their like terms of service, their service agreement, and we say, list out everything you do. Like list out, it is not just picking a resort. It is not just, helping sign a contract. Like every single step of everything we do. Maybe it's time to refresh that activity if you've done it before, or if you never have, do that again. And then find the commonalities, like, oh, I'm really helpful, or oh, I'm really good at advocating for people, or I'm really good at making things happen that other people said were impossible. Like, I don't know, like just figure out what you're good at, and that becomes your brand identity.
Find a real nice way of saying, hey, I can be a real bitch if I need to. Like
you're good at that. But I think your superhero talent is that you can be the biggest bitch to anyone and no one has any clue. You have amazing skills at telling someone to fuck off and they have no clue what just happened. And then we just got our explicit rating again for season 2. I was hoping we would clear that. Nope. One episode.
Yep. episode 1. I think it was actually like line 2. But that's fine. We're fine.
Season 2, episode 1. It's fine. Okay, so here's the question. We're talking a lot about your brand voice and figuring out who you are and putting that out there. What if, Mario, I am someone, I don't like the way I look in pictures. I don't like the way I am on camera. I feel awkward. What are ways that people can infuse their personalities into their business in a way that they feel comfortable with?
I think it's important, first of all, to find a balance there, right? Like it's not, I think it's one of the most important things to have a picture of yourself on your site. And I
You just
understand,
got
like,
to.
yeah, I understand you might not be comfortable with it, but there are things that you can do to make yourself comfortable with it. So it's making sure you find the right partners in your area that can help you. Part of people taking, not wanting things being on their site is because they have their phone and they're taking pictures like this and the big chin
That's a
underneath.
great angle for
It's
everyone.
like this. It's yeah. And so you get a photographer that knows what they're doing. Invest a little bit in a little bit of hair and makeup. You don't gotta look crazy. That's just a little. This is not a glamour shot, but it's a little bit of hair and makeup just to make it.
That would be a brand.
Right. Hey, there's some out there.
I did them. When I turned 13, I have them somewhere.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, I know I did. There was definitely like a cowboy hat and some rhinestones. I'm gonna find these. All right, so no glamour shots, unless
No
that's
glamour
your thing.
shot. But on top of that, I think also doing a little bit of research of what's out there, right?
Yeah.
Don't just get in your head about like, oh my God, I need to take this photo. It needs to be perfect. It needs to be, everything this A, B, and C. Go take a look at some of your competition. First of all, identify who your competition is, and then go and take a look and see what's out there. I guarantee they have a picture of themselves on their site. Go ahead.
No, this is like where people are watching the video versus listening. They won't see that I just like literally threw my hand up in your face. But I was like, I want to talk about the competition thing. Our competition, in my opinion, is not each other. Like you and I are not competitors. We work in the same industry. We do very different things. We speak to different couples, different, budget levels, different everything. There's room enough for everyone. Our competition is big box travel agencies, nameless, faceless, big box travel agencies, and Expedia and Travelocity, and people's lack of knowledge. That is our competition. So when you're doing that research, act like a bride, go see what's out there, but don't look at like this person or that person. That's not your competition. Your competition is education and being unique.
I think it's one of the most interesting things that you just said, and it makes me realize one of your biggest competitors is the couples themselves.
Yeah, because they don't know what they don't know.
There are some couples that are out there that just think that they can do it themselves and think, hey, this is fine. It's like planning a wedding in the States. No, it's not. And by the way, there's wedding planners in the States for that reason. It is a lot different than planning a wedding in the States. And you need to understand the dynamics that go into that. And you can't be every other hour emailing a coordinator in Mexico or in DR. Like it's not going to be well received.
Well, they're doing that because they don't trust.
Right.
And they probably don't trust you because they don't know you, which goes back to this whole brand voice thing.
But those are one of the things that you can communicate at what you bring to the table. I understand how to work with Mexico. I understand how to work with DR. It's something that I do on a daily basis. And so I will help guide you through that entire process and make sure that you're comfortable with when we should be receiving response times and how those responses come in. Because sometimes an asshole response, but hey, we're getting the answer that we need. Don't take it personally. Like it's
but you're the expert. You're continuously rebranding and reinforcing your brand of I am the expert. You are hiring me because I am the expert in all these areas.
Absolutely.
So so back to the original question, which was how do I put myself in my business if I don't feel comfortable? There's some things you're just gonna have to get comfortable with. Like I'm sorry to be that direct with people because maybe they were looking for some kind of magical answer, but there isn't. You've got to be present. You have to be there. You have to tell a little bit of your story. You don't have to spend a lot on photos. There's a million girls on TikTok that can teach you how to pose better, that can teach you how to wear colors that are more flattering. You just need like 1 or 2 good pictures to start, really. Like this doesn't have to be like a whole portfolio. You just need a couple that you can use for a little bit. And then once you're in destination, what's that?
how to get the right angle, how to, yeah.
Yeah, you just need, and there are photographers that can work magic. I've worked with some really good ones and I've worked with some really awful ones. And I can tell you the pictures I love and I can tell you the pictures I've paid for and have not even used because they are so bad.
Mhm.
So it takes some trial and error. But to start, just, do something that makes you happy and try to get photos of that because people are going to respond to you being your authentic self. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be the best thing I love now about working. So we're in this kind of elder millennials are aging out. And now we have, Gen Z people getting married and kind of starting to come in. The best thing I like about this new generation coming into weddings is they don't need everything to be perfect and polished.
Nope.
They don't. Like, I can't even tell you how many times I do stories. I don't even have makeup on. Like, I just don't. I'm just out there saying what needs to be said, and people respond to that authenticity more than anything.
Absolutely. Authenticity, I think, is just the number one.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter exactly what you put out there. It doesn't need to be super polished, but they want to feel like what they read on the website or what they experience on social is who they're speaking to on the other end of the line once they book their consultation.
Yeah.
That has to connect.
That is Melissa Esposito in the Playbook. She gave me the best compliment ever when we were just at Save the Date because we've known each other through Playbook, but we live in different places and schedules haven't aligned for us to actually meet in person. And when we finally did meet in person, she said, "You're exactly what I expected." She was like, "You are exactly what I thought I was getting from like social media, the Playbook, and everything else." And I was like, thank you, because that is important. That authenticity is important to me, and I think people want to see that in your business too.
But you are authentically yourself across all of your platforms.
I
It's
try.
yeah. I mean,
It's
it's.
very freeing.
I mean, other than maybe filtering an F bomb or two,
That
that's
probably does
but
get
not
filtered.
many.
No, I'm more filtered on the business page. You
Yeah.
see more of my personal stuff, which is probably why you get that. But it's okay. The point is like if you're not comfortable being on camera, if that is rooted in I am not perfect, I am not polished, throw that fear away because people don't care. They just want to know you as a person, and no one is expecting perfection. I think that idea of everyone needs to be like airbrushed and photoshopped is very outdated now. People just want to see you and all of your faults and flaws because they know that's your authentic self.
Now, speaking of faults and flaws, one of the things that we talked about earlier that I think is important to brush on, you want to be authentically you, and you
Mm-hmm.
want to attract the people that you want to work with.
Yeah.
What are some topics that you would recommend avoiding while
No.
you're trying to make yourself feel like your authentic self?
Oh, that's a good one. So everyone's different. Everyone's going to have a different answer. You and I probably have different answers about this, but I have some non-negotiables. Like
Yep.
I do have some kind of and I'm teetering over the line of, we were taught as polite children to not talk about like religion, politics,
Yep.
things like that. And to some degree in a business that is true. Like if no matter what you say, you're going to alienate the other half of people. So like I get that. But like I've had consults where one of my questions in my intake form is an LGBTQ destination important to you? That's just how it's written. Is it important to you? Yes, no, you don't care. Like is it important to you? And I had a consult where a girl said no, like she checked the box yes, in that she did not want to go to a destination that was LGBTQ friendly. And I was like, ooh, that is
Yeah.
kind of a
Hmm.
non-negotiable for me. Like that is just I just can't get on board with that. And when we had the consult, she went into more detail about it. And it was so against who I am as a person and so against like my core values as a human being and as a business owner that I waited some time so it would be a little bit more anonymous, but I eventually did make a Instagram story about it. And I was
Hmm.
just like, listen, this happens. I understand there's someone for everybody, but this is not me. And I won't tolerate this and I won't work with anyone who has this or has this opinion. It was better when I did it. But it was one of those moments where I knew I was crossing the line of like what's polite and what we're not supposed to talk about, but it is so important to me that I couldn't not do it. And
Hmm.
so I think you have to know what your non-negotiables are. On a very, very, very different level, there is a hotel chain that I will not work with, period. The end. And when someone comes to me, I will just straight up tell them that and why. It's not the one you're thinking, it's a different one. But that's just part of who I am. And if someone comes to me, I'll just say it, it's sandals. I don't think they're like trying to sponsor us or anything. But like, if someone comes to me and they say, oh, we want to book a wedding, we're really interested in sandals, I say, that is great. I would love to work with you. I do not work with sandals, and here's why. And I list out the reasons, and I'm taking a stand, and I'm, putting myself out there, and they know a little bit more about me now, but I also have my convictions, and I'm not going to back down on those. And
But I
that's
think
my right.
I think there's certain things that you can stand on that pillar for, right? If there's something that's super, super important to you, whatever that is, you can absolutely make that part of your identity and make that part of the conversation. You just have to understand that you may be alienating, a certain percentage of the population by doing that. I mean, same thing for those advisors that are listening that were with us at Save the Date. I was on the panel at Save the Date and made it very clear my stance on a certain hotel group that does not do LGBT weddings.
There goes another sponsor.
Yep, I just do not sell their properties.
Yeah.
I won't do it. You want that property? Hey, I'd be happy to refer you to another agent. Unfortunately, I'm not a great fit for that property.
Yeah.
And you move on from there. But I think it's more important to show who you are as a person and what you do stand for than to let any certain situation dictate how you operate your business.
And it also, in the way you can communicate that kindly, right? It doesn't have to be like throwing down the hammer. And that's
the date, but to my clients I do.
Oh yeah, I know. But like when you're on a consult, you can communicate that in a way that demonstrates your expertise too. Like the way that I address the sandals thing sometimes with people is I'm like, listen, it's not a brand I book, and here's why. And I list up all the reasons why. I say, if you want to know my honest opinion, and then I go into the details of what it is. And I usually end with saying, listen, as we get to know each other, I'm going to be honest to a fault. That is just who I am. Like I am a straight shooter. I'm going to tell you the good, bad, and the ugly. Not everyone is ready for that. And not everyone wants to work in that kind of way. So if that's not you, I get it, but that is me. We can't hide, what that is. And a lot of people really respond. They're like, nope, that's what we want. Like, that's why we're here. We don't know what we don't know. We just want the details. Like, thank you for being so honest. And you can do that too. You're like, listen, this is, with that specific example, it's a little more obvious for you. But like, I think that it's just, there are some things that if you want to communicate very boldly about certain topics, that can work in your favor. That can also work against you. You just have to know both sides of the coin and be okay with that.
Yep, absolutely. So I guess that leads into reach and visibility. And as you're putting these things down on paper, and as you're executing them on your website and on your socials, and how you're interacting with your couples and with their guests, and it's one of the important things is as you become authentically yourself and as your brand voice becomes authentically you, that conversation leads well past the people that you're interacting with just on the one-on-one basis, right? You're now reaching their circles, and you're now, you don't know where a referral is necessarily going to come from based on the voice that you've put out into the universe.
So having built a little bit of history, I'm going to talk about social media specifically. Okay. I have some very long time followers that will never book a trip with me. And I know they won't. Like, it's just not their thing. They're not getting married. They don't, they're not planning a wedding. They just like seeing all the pretty pictures and places I go and weird stories that I tell. And, they just like, it's like we're friends. There's these whole like parasocial relationships that happen. But what has happened from that is their cousin got engaged, their coworker got engaged. They had a friend who was really struggling with planning a wedding at home, and they said, oh, you should follow Ashley. She does destination weddings. She's really funny. You should watch it, or like whatever. Like, you just don't know where that's going to come from. And so we keep hammering on this authenticity thing but that's how people connect with you, and that's how they're going to stay. And you don't know what kind of referrals that could lead to later. It works. As much as I hate it, it works. Because I do hate social media, but it does work. So, question for you, with your rebrand, are you like rebranding your social media and everything too? Everything's getting overhauled. That's gonna be fun.
Oh, it's gonna be, I mean, I guess just on a personal business standpoint, there's just Destination Weddings Expert, it's a lot of the company that's out there right now, my company that's out there is disjointed in what we're putting out,
Right.
into that conversation, because there's a lot of, my husband, the founder of the company, that there's a lot of him that's out there, some of his groups that are out there, and a lot of his story. I think one of the most important things that I communicated to our agency when we were speaking about rebranding and redoing the website is that there will never be a time where we lose Will in the company. He will always be part of it. But it's really, really important that our couples and their guests understand who they're speaking with and who they're working with right now.
Right.
And so it's the vision for Destination Weddings Expert and what we want to do as a company. Will and I were aligned on, and that will always stay the same or evolve as naturally as it would have, right? But who we are today and the experience that they're going to have when they're working with me is a different experience than they would have had if, when they're working with Will. The expertise is there, the knowledge is there, but Will and I were just inherently two different people.
Right.
And so I think it's super important that now, as we evolve the company, as we become the team at Destination Weddings Expert, I want people to understand that this is the experience that you're going to have now. This is who it's going to be. And we make sure to highlight the team as a whole.
I think you were heading there anyway. Like this isn't as abrupt of a change as maybe people will think, because you were expanding and growing towards this anyway. It just kind of happened in a different way than you were expecting. And it's part of your story.
Yeah. Well, Will was with us. We were already starting to do that and having those conversations in public forums, on social, on the website.
Yeah.
And, then after everything happened, then I was able to, because of that vision, able to take that conversation and quickly adjust things so that the website did speak of the team at, and some of the socials, not all the socials, got updated to the team at. And so now I really want that to now come full circle. And now I want to close all the loops that are out there, because even though I come from a branding and marketing world, that's to actually execute when you have emotional involvement in it is hard.
It's your bias.
Yeah. I've learned that over this past year, is that, like, I couldn't change a password at times. So how the hell am I going to change a Facebook page that says Destination Weddings Expert by Will Medina? Like, it's,
it's hard.
Some of those things. So my logical part of my brain had to be like, okay, this is a rebrand. We're updating the brand, and this is how it's going to read across the board. I can get behind that, and we're going to do that. That's the plan.
Yeah. And I'm sure no one had any opinions about it along the way either.
Everyone has an opinion about it. And there's going to be more once I launch. Trust me.
It's so comical to me that people, that's a whole different topic. Like, people act like you haven't been there the whole time. We're going too far down the road.
Let's really get into it now.
But yes. So and you are someone, just knowing you are not super comfortable with social media. So when I ask that question of like, how can you be a part of your business if you're not comfortable with these things, you're kind of going through that right now. And for someone else that might be feeling that way, it doesn't have to be perfect. We talked about that. You don't have to be polished and, airbrushed and amazing, but it is important that you be there. And I'm reading a book. Mary Beth Lynn recommended it to me. It's called The Alter Ego Effect. And it kind of talks about this concept of maybe you just need to make like an alter ego for yourself. Like he talks about right in the opening, Beyonce and Sasha Fierce. And so I was like, yes, I am on board with this. Tell me more. Like, I get this. But when she was kind of, leaving Destiny's Child and becoming on her own, she kind of had to pump herself up with this like alter ego, because that's how she could get to that place where she had the confidence to be solo and not as part of a team. And, she doesn't need it anymore. She's like shed that because she's grown into her own skin. But if you are on this very small level with your business, not comfortable, then make an alter ego for yourself. Like, be this person. It's a job. Like, be this person at your job, be this person with your work voice and, your things you can do, and then take that off at the end of the day and go be you. I'm not saying be fake and be a totally different person, but sometimes we do need this like alter ego to get us through some of the hard things.
I think that's actually some of the conversations that we've been having with the agents in the inner circle. That's about being whatever that ego is. It's business. It's everything that we're doing here, this podcast, the my rebrand, that's the everything. This is business. And so you have to be able to separate your personal and your business. And if that means that you create an alter ego that lives on in that, then so be it. But there's a separation between being authentic and living that alter ego, and then also just being fake. And we've had to have some of those conversations about
boundaries.
Boundaries and people being fake. And so that's, I think that alter ego effect really is a phenomenal approach to creating a character and understanding that this is who I speak, this is how I speak when I'm speaking business. This is, who I am, how I speak in personal. My personal socials, I don't want you to know shit about me. That's I don't want you to know where I am. I don't want that's it's I get overly emotional. I share too much when it happens, but it's in business, it's a completely different approach, and I think that's part of the paralyzing effect.
Yeah.
And a great way to get over it by making sure that you understand that it's business.
Yeah, you have to make that separation for yourself. And it's understandable why that line is blurry, because we're also telling you that you are your business. Like, you have to sell people are buying you. They're not buying the hotel. They're not buying this pretty picture of a beach. They're buying you. So it is a blurry line. But I can tell you from personal experience that no one will be successful long term if they don't establish some of those boundaries up front, because it is being you and being on and being out there all the time. It has to be done in a measured way, or you will burn out and you will be exhausted. Like, I speak from experience on that.
So I guess our point here is full circle. Do the therapy, put in the work. Who are you in business? What is authentically you, and how do you communicate that?
And put it out there. Like, know what it is and put it out there, and don't be afraid. Nobody's expecting perfection. People like imperfection. That's I mean, reality TV wouldn't exist.
Is this business drag? Are we doing business drag?
Oh. Oh my God, we need names.
Oh my God. We're coming back next episode with our business drag names. That's a thing.
Oh, yep. We are doing business drag. Oh my God. Season 2, off to a great start.
Season 2, business drag and therapy. You are welcome. Thank you so much. You can tell.
I think if we go back and compare to like season 1, when we were like, oh, let's feel this out and see how this is gonna go, and now we're just like, whatever. It's fine. All right, so season 2 preview. Yes. What's coming up? What should people be excited about?
We've got a lot coming up.
So much. It's so much. It took Mario and I 2 hours to plan out a calendar for everything that's coming this year, and that is not an exaggeration. That is the truth.
That is true. That is. I think there was an entire meeting of us just sitting down and talking about what was coming up.
No, we put things on a calendar for an hour and 57 minutes. Like that, there is so much going on. So, podcast obviously coming. Yes, I think it'll be a similar mix of topics like this and sometimes some guest appearances, of which we've already talked to a couple people. We've got some fun things coming. One that I'm particularly excited about that we need to schedule, we're talking in real time now, is talking to a resort wedding planner, a resort wedding coordinator and planner, and how things are done from their side of things, because I think that's really important for us as professionals to understand what their side of the job is and how we can be better for them. So more topics, more guests. All of this is leading to one really big announcement that we could tease about May.
Ooh, okay.
If you want. If not, then this just got awkward.
Is it a teaser, or am I just announcing it?
I think we're just announcing it.
Okay. All right. Well, so season 2, as we kind of continue on these conversations, this is the season that's going to lead us into the launch of the new playbook.
Woo!
Yep. So come May-ish, sometime in May, there will be the launch of the new playbook, which is our course where we speak about this crazy destination wedding niche and everything that it takes to go into running a successful business and giving yourself the life that you want to live as a destination wedding travel advisor. So we will break down that course into 4 modules, which is niche, attraction, conversion, and automation. Niche, just identifying, what the business is, why you're here, why the hell are we talking destination weddings, and what does a destination wedding mean? And then we're talking about conversion. Attraction attraction. So attracting the client that you want to work with. That was the entire conversation that we just talked about today. Much more to that, but that is one of the topics that go into attraction. Once you've attracted them, we're converting them, and how we're converting them into sales and making sure that we're giving them the experience that they deserve and that we have communicated that we're going to give them. And then lastly is automation. So automation is just making sure that you can scale your business and do it at a level where you're not getting involved in the micro and, communicating with guests, even though, maybe you're doing something like writing an email once with love, and then you're automating it so that everyone gets it and they feel like you have emailed them personally that day and you're moving on from there. But
all of this leading to a place where you can build and grow a really successful business, but still have your life and still do it in a work smarter, not harder way. And you get these fun stickers when you're done. I just found this on my desk as we were talking. You get this little.
Which, speaking of, I have a whole set of stickers I have to send out. I'm waiting on the new stickers to come, but there's a graduation kit group.
I can. Do you need when I'm there next week? We can help.
We'll talk project management later.
Right, good. But the other exciting thing about the Playbook class relaunching is that it will be live this time. In the past, there have been live versions. There have been work at your own pace recorded versions. Mario and I are doing this one live again. It is 4 months of fun. Sounds crazy when you say it like that.
4 months of fun.
If you would like to spend 4 months with this crazy train going on here, it is once a week, roughly 4 months. There are some things that are work at your own pace. There is a live component because we have found that people are more engaged when they have more accountability, and doing that live with the group helps with that accountability. So that will be coming late spring, early summer, more to come. It's exciting stuff.
Absolutely. All right. Ashley, thank you so much for joining me for season 2, episode 1.
As if I had a choice.
Like I said, we will get canceled at some point. It's my goal. So thank you guys very much for listening, for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Running a travel business may have its challenges, but with a dash of humor, the right tools, an amazing community, and a lot of wine, success awaits us all. Raise a glass with us and toast to your remarkable journey.
Don't forget, if you're ready to take the next step in your travel career, one where you can focus on developing your niche, attracting leads, converting them into new clients, and automating your systems, you can build the business of your dreams. If you're ready, join us in the Playbook Inner Circle at jointheplaybook.com. We can't wait to see you inside.